Laurel and Hardy are the most famous and well-known comedy couple in the history of cinema. The two appeared in dozens of silent and non-silent comedy films in the first half of the 20th century. Arthur Stanley Jefferson, late known as Stan Laurel, was born on June 16, 1890, in England to an artistic family. He left school at the age of 16 and turned to his parents' profession. He lived a mediocre financial life until he entered the world of cinema and became famous for his financial well-being. From the very beginning, he appeared in comic roles alongside well-known comedians and gradually acquired complementary roles until he finally made a name for himself as a young and talented comedian. He immigrated to the United States in 1912. In 1917, Laurel first appeared in a feature film. It gradually came to the attention of well-known filmmakers including Hal Roach, a well-known Universal producer. Subscribe our YouTube channel to watch the rest of this video and more. His artistic couple Laurel Hardy were born on January 18, 1892 in Georgia. His father died when he was 1 year old and his mother, a well-known hotel manager, kept Hardy and his four siblings alone. As a child and teenager, he regularly ran away from school due to his lack of interest in lessons and education, until his mother noticed his extraordinary talent in music and singing and sent him to music school to study. In 1910, the first movie theater opened in Nashville, the town where Hardy and his family lived. Norwell, who took the name Oliver in memory of his father, first worked as an operator in a movie theater and eventually became known as an operator to a ticket office and later as a cinema manager. Later, at the suggestion of a friend, he went to Hollywood as a young actor. In 1914, Hardy made his first film debut. Laurel and Hardy first appeared together in 1921 in The Happy Dog. 6 years later, Hal Roach decides to introduce the two lesser-known comedians to the cinema as a comedy couple together. The second 100 Years produced by Roach was the couple's first film, and it was from that year on that the two couples were called Stan and Ollie. With the advent of sound cinema and the end of the silent era in cinema, the English accent of Laurel and the Southern accent of Hardy, as well as the singing of the two, caused their popularity among the audience. It was also the ability to combine verbal humor with their visual jokes that made Laurel and Hardy even more successful. Laurel did not know he was living in his heyday. In 1930, their first color film, The Unexpected Song, was released. In 1932, Music Box won the Academy Award for Best Short Film. Over the years, the two became so popular with the public and filmmakers that Roach decided to devote all his time to producing the most enduring comedies in cinema history. Interestingly, Hardy, despite his serious face, in all his roles was a simple-hearted and emotional person. And in contrast, Laurel acted as his opposite. That is, unlike his naive face, he easily played very serious roles. Laurel and Hardy starred in extremely naive, playful, yet innocent roles. This indicates that the child inside them is alive. Two children who get upset and angry and moments later with a certain innocence forget about themselves a few moments ago. In fact, with those childish laughs, they laughed at the crowded and tense world of that time and made others laugh as well. So was their friendship and intimacy behind the scenes, so intimate that when Oliver Hardy died of a series of strokes on August 7, 1957, at the age of 65, Laurel became depressed and not only officially retired from acting, but also due to illness and absence at his regular funeral, he said Oliver understands. Hardy's death changed Laurel's financial situation. Laurel is isolated after Hardy's death. Although the conditions created for Laurel were intentional on his part, they greatly affected his financial life and his impoverishment. He lost his life and property and then his life in a cocoon of isolation because of his great prejudice and love for Hardy, and he never complained. This is a sign of the utmost intimacy and loyalty that these two artists had to each other. Laurel spent the last years of his life in a small apartment in the Ocean Hotel in Santa Monica, spending the rest of his life answering letters from fans. 8 years after Hardy's farewell, Laurel died of a heart attack on February 23, 1965, at the age of 74. If anyone cries at my funeral, I don't talk to them anymore. I will not do it. He has spent the last 8 years of his life saving, but his poverty never caused him to lose popularity or be forgotten.